Alright, well, welcome back to Exhaust Sports Auto. My name is Kevin and I am here to provide you with another review. It is actually the 2010 Lexus IS 250 with the all-wheel drive package. So, who do we have to thank for this little opportunity? Well, it is none other than Leith Nissan in Cary, North Carolina. So if you're interested in a vehicle, Nissan, this vehicle, or another Lexus, which I'm about to check out, a GX with about 200,000 miles as well. This has about 188,000 miles, but whatever. You may contact Joey. All of his information will be down in the description box below. But with that established, let's go ahead and get this bad boy out on the road because I'm quite excited to drive this vehicle because, well, I have been looking absolutely everywhere for this car and I could not find it because it's either sold or whatever. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's talk about the looks first because that's where I like to start. Now, this vehicle is aged flawlessly. I love the way that this thing looks, dude. This thing looks absolutely perfect. No complaints about the looks of this vehicle because it's just, there's nothing to complain about. Every single angle of this car, it just looks clean and no issues. It's aged so well. It's one of my most favorite aging vehicles out on the road. I think I might even like it better than the third generation IS. So there's that. But you know, you can decide for yourself which one you like the looks of the most. What I am more curious about is the way that this bad boy drives. Now, you would think, most Lexus vehicles, like they like to age perfectly, and for the most part, they do, honestly. This is aged extremely well, as we're about to see in the interior segment. However, when I first start up the vehicle, there's a little bit more vibrations than what I'm used to. Now, this is the smaller 2.5-liter V6, produces about 204 horsepower, I believe, and about 185 pounds-feet of torque. Now, I get it. That doesn't sound like a whole lot because it kind of isn't. The IS 350 has like literally 102 more horsepower. Nice, very nice. So, no, it's not the fastest thing in the world. However, the beautiful thing about this is it's still a V6. It pulls like a 4-cylinder, but that's besides the point because it's a V6 and at least it's not some stupid 4-cylinder thing that sounds stupid and chattery. Like, this is actually like a proper 6-cylinder engine. It's one of the smallest 6-cylinders I've ever driven, so it kind of has like an interesting tone to it, actually. Kind of like a whiny tone, but I kind of like it. I have to kind of test out some of that handling here in a bit. About to take it on the highway as well. So this vehicle, it's riding extremely well. It kind of has like a floaty sensation, which I wasn't really used to. There's a bit more roll to the body, but it still handles extremely well. See, I like that whiny sound coming from this 6-speed automatic. Sounds diplomatic. Not a show, guys. Doesn't mean anything. But anyway, out on the highway right now, doing the highway speeds. This thing is so freaking quiet, dude. That's one of the beautiful things about Lexus cars. Like, they are just so freaking refined. Even the little sporty IS. But a lot of people, think, how does it compare to a 3 Series? Honestly, it doesn't handle like a 3 Series. But it rides way better, essentially. It's way more refined. It's like a better street car in that regard. I will say that the next generation IS does handle a little bit better than this. It has a little bit more of a tighter chassis to it, but this has like a nice lightweight feel to it. The steering is extremely responsive. It's just a bit of roll in the chassis, but that's about it. Otherwise, this is a very nice natural feeling vehicle. It's very eager to turn, that's for sure, but I'm really liking the comfort and the quietness of this vehicle. There's just a bit of tire noise, that's about it. Otherwise, this is going to be far more refined than a BMW. I wasn't expecting this vehicle to be so softly sprung, but hey, like this car, you buy it, you're typically like a high school student, something like that, you want to flex on your high school friends. It's kind of what this vehicle is for, right? But yeah, no, there's hardly any creaks and rattles like typical Lexus fashion. So you're about to take this other corner right here. Yeah, it's definitely, because of how softly sprung this vehicle is, there's definitely a lot more roll with this chassis, and the suspension is, obviously there's an F-Sport version of this car, and that thing is quite impressive because it comes with forged wheels. Now, this thing is fitted with, 17-inch alloys, which is also going to help in the ride quality of this thing. Going over some more garbage bumps here in a bit, and soaking everything up extremely well. This is definitely like a very nice daily driver type vehicle for sure. Nice little vehicle to, you know, put some miles on this thing. Now, yes, it has about 188,000 miles on it. Not quite 200K, but for the most part, it's aged extremely well. Now, is this going to be fast enough for most people? Honestly, it's really not the fastest thing in the world. I will say that. This IS 250 does feel a bit of a dog. Now, also, this thing is fitted with the all-wheel drive system, so that does add a bit of weight. But for the most part, these things weigh about 3,400 to 3,500 pounds, somewhere in there. So not too bad. There is some brake travel required in this thing. This is actually, you know, you look at this, you look at the shape, you look at the design, you know, you would think that this is a, you know, great kind of sporty sedan, you know, very nimble and all that stuff. It has like a very nimble feeling in its steering wheel, but like for the most part, this is actually best used as a stylish cruiser, if you will. It's very like comfy type of car that's best used to, like, you know, drive around casually. Now, it's got some other great things going on for it, like a double wishbone suspension, multi-link rear end, you know, that's all great stuff. And that's another reason why it rides so well, because it utilizes like a real suspension setup essentially. So that's superior to a lot of the BMWs, the Mercs, and all that good stuff. So really appreciate that. But this car is best used to just, you know, if you're not lead-footed like I am, this is going to be great for you to kind of cruise around. And it's, again, you know, if you're a high school student, you don't deserve a fast car. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is all you really deserve, honestly. So, you know, work your way up. You know, you get your own little job or whatever, and then you buy yourself a little 350. Now, yeah, the 350 motor is glorious. I really like the steering weight in this thing. That's pretty remarkable. You have a little power switch thing here, which kind of play with that if you want to. It has a complete mind of its own, so no real purpose in playing with the paddles in this vehicle. You know, just utilize it as what it is. Like I mentioned, a nice, comfy cruiser vehicle, you know, out on the highway, out and everywhere, essentially. This is nice and comfortable. That's the point of this car. Even I was kind of shocked. You know, I was going into this thing and this is going to be some rock star car that was going to, you know, you know what I'm saying? Like, I thought this was really going to be nice and nimble and tighter compared to the next generation IS350, but the next gen IS350 is like the real kind of BMW competitor, if you will. Has a great chassis, especially in the F Sport trim. Now, sure, the F Sport version of this could be a lot tighter and a lot more improved, but like, whatever, dude. Like, you know, this car is like $9,000. You know what I'm saying? Like, people are just, you're not buying this for the F Sports and all that nonsense. You're buying this simply to look cool because this is that Lexus badge. Again, like I mentioned, you want to flex in front of your high school buddies or any of your buddies, actually, because, you know, it's still a great looking, prestigious automobile. So still has that going off for it. Again, you have to really get on the brakes there a little bit. You know, it's a nice progressive brake pedal, but it's not like instantaneous like the new cars. Of course, it's a very easy car to whip around. Very small in its stature, and also in the interior segment, as I'm about to show you. But let's see, it really likes to hold the gears there for no apparent reason. This is best put into normal mode and let the vehicle do its thing. The 6-speed automatic, you know what I'm saying? I like how it kicks down effortlessly, and the motor sounds really good. You know, it's, if you're looking at a bunch of 4-cylinder kind of mid-sized cars and stuff like that, obviously this is going to be the far more enjoyable sounding experience, if you will. I believe if you go up to the IS 350s, that's when you, like the big 3.5 liter V6s, that's when you start to get the little sound tube thing fitted to these vehicles. I believe they did that for this generation as well, but you can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure you will correct me if I'm wrong. So there's that. But that's kind of the driving established there. Let's go ahead and let's talk about this interior, shall we? Because like with most Lexus products, it has aged extremely well. All the kind of interior panels, like this wood, I love the Lexus woods that they use in this vehicle. It is so freaking solid and looks very good as well. I like the grains. It's, you know, I don't care if it's real or fake or whatever. I believe it is real. However, you know, it is what it is. I had the cool seats on there, but it wasn't really cooling anything, so I just turned them off. So it is what it is. Really, the only faulty thing about this vehicle is actually the moonroof. That won't open. So that's about it. Otherwise, everything else in here works. Like when it starts up immediately, it blows cold air at your face. Like the AC works absolutely perfectly, so I love that. One-touch automatic windows for all 4 windows. That's a great thing. And it's not double pane glass, but again, like in typical Lexus fashion, it is a very thick piece of glass, so I absolutely love that. The steering wheel is a treat. It is like the perfect size. You know, nice little Lexus logo right there. You know, of course, you know, that's always a great thing. You know, nice, very nice paddle shifters. Completely useless in this car because it just has a mind of its own, so that doesn't really matter. It's got the automatic headlights, which is always a great thing to see in these vehicles. You have a foot operated parking brake. You got that going on, and a push button start and all that good stuff. So I like that. Gauge cluster looks great. You know, this is before they had all the electronic digital crap. You know, it's different generations. These things first came out in 06. Another thing you want to keep in mind, I have not driven the previous IS300, you know, the OG, but actually this IS250 is actually 0.1 of a second faster to 60 than the IS300. But of course, it's an OG engine, the whole straight six and all that good stuff. But anyway, this is still a satisfying motor. The thing you have to keep in mind is it's going to get great fuel economy compared to the IS350. Not by a whole lot, but, you know, like 1 mpg better on both sides, whatever. This thing, it does like 0 to 60 in 7.9 seconds. But anyway, that's nor here nor there. I think the IS350 does in about 5.6 seconds. That's to be expected with 102 extra horsepower. But anyway, everything is legible. It looks nice. It doesn't look dated. That's the thing. It's kind of a more timeless design outside and in, so I like that. And again, no infotainment. Just shows you your climate control completely separate, as well as a radio system with a CD player in it. And let me tell you, this audio system sounds phenomenal. I had the radio playing. You know, Drake came on. Drake sounded phenomenal. I don't know if it was Drake or not. It was some rap stuff. So that sounded pretty good in the speakers. So I really like that. It's not a Mark Levinson or anything like that. But again, like I mentioned, these standard audio systems still sound very good. So I appreciate that. Now, the overall interior space, you know, I like these front seats, right? Okay, so this driving seat, I have a lot of adjustability in it, and you know, I have the perfect kind of seating position here, and I'm about 5'11", okay? So front seats, you can be rather tall and not have too many issues. Now, there's a big kind of hump here on my right leg here for the driver's side, and I'm assuming it's because it's the all-wheel drive version of it. Obviously, it's going to be a great kind of daily driver, of course, because of that, but you know, I think it is kind of intruding in on the space here. Now, what's strange is the passenger side does not have nearly as much space as the driver's side, which is kind of interesting to me, but you know, it is what it is. These seats are extremely comfortable, like all Lexus cars are. There's definitely some wear on it, some wrinkling, some, you know, fading of the leathers, but for the most part, I'm not really tripping over it, because with 188k miles on it, this is aged extremely well. So I absolutely love it. I mean, there's really not too many issues. Like I mentioned, you know, even like these plastics and stuff like that, even when you kind of press up against it, it's not too ridiculous. This wood is absolutely solid. So love that. And you know, plenty of door pocket space here, good amount of space in the what do you call this, center armrest, so that's pretty good. You have an aux cable connectivity here. You have one cup holder. You know, there's the third generation is far more practical than this vehicle. This is lacking a lot of space. You know, I guess there's a decent amount of space in the glove box, but for the most part, though, you don't buy this vehicle for the space. You buy it, you want a cheap, good-looking daily driver that's capable, relatively reliable. The only thing I have to watch out for is this, the 2.5-liter V6s do have direct injection, so and it's direct injected only, so you know, you have to deal with some carbon buildup. Again, if you can find a nice little aftermarket warranty for this will be a great car to own and drive without too many headaches. Actually, you know, you can just sleep well at night. For the most part, these things do hold up pretty well. You know, please leave in the comment section, you know, how, if you're an owner of this thing, how it's kind of held up for you. But you know, let's get on with the review here. The rear seats, this is kind of the biggest kind of complaint that a lot of people had with this generation IS. The rear seats are definitely a little bit compromised. There's not a whole lot of space back there. I'm 5'11". I'm kind of like the capped out point for this rear seat room. With my seat setting the way it is, and I do sit kind of close to the wheel, I can just kind of barely fit. Like, I have just enough space to like not feel like I need to cut my legs off. So there is some space underneath the front seats there, but you know, definitely a little bit of a tighter back seat space there. The trunk is a decent size. I'm not really tripping over the trunk. The obviously it's not the same size like a GS or an LS, but it's a decent size trunk for this vehicle, so I do like that. And you do have a spare tire back there as well, so that's great. I really respect that. So that's kind of a quick look at the Lexus IS. So is this kind of what you were expecting for this generation vehicle? I know I kind of expected a more sporty driving experience, but instead I got a nice little cruiser vehicle that's still satisfying to ring out every now and again, because that 6-cylinder sounds very good. So I do appreciate it as a whole, and it's very comfortable. It's tuned completely for softness. There's some roll with the chassis and all that good stuff, but all that softness aids in the ride quality, the smaller wheels, the 17-inch wheels, all that good stuff. So there is that. Now, that's the end of this review. Please leave all your thoughts down in the comment section below about this vehicle, and if you're an owner of this vehicle, please let me know. If you're interested in purchasing this vehicle or any other kind of Nissan products or anything like that, please go ahead and check out Leith Nissan's website and Joey's information down in the description box below. But thank you again, take care, and goodbye.